So I'm walking through these Dantean woods. Those of you who know the Divine Comedy know that it begins with a line. I can't remember the line as it exactly goes, and I don't know the original Italian in which it was more accurately written. So I will just summarize it. It was something like, I was in the middle of life, in the dark woods, just trying to make my way, struggling through. And it was at this point of some kind of personal crisis that he found himself in this, suddenly drawn into this adventure of the ages, where he found access to first hell, where he was accompanied by Virgil, to whom he was a sort of a literary apprentice, and Virgil took him through to the Inferno, and then he went to Purgatorio, and then finally his beloved Beatrice, whom he had loved in his life, who died at a young age. She took him the rest of the way up, as it were, into Paradiso. Well, here I am walking through the dark woods of my own Dantean imagination. But, to quote T.S. Eliot, I am no Dante. Although here is a great matter, I would say that. I will say that of myself. Unlike Prufrock, I will make that claim, that this is here. What I will be discussing is a matter of some import, not because it relates to me, but because of what it has to say about, I don't know, about fame, success, the seeking after of acclaim, and all that stuff. All that stuff which I, have made the subject of several other things that I've written, both fiction and nonfiction. Well, I had a sort of humbling experience recently, and that is something that I do experience from time to time. This was sort of a piece with something that I have experienced a few times before. Those of you who might not be aware of this fact, I recently did an interview with Morgoth. It was a very enjoyable interview, a Morgoth review. And oftentimes, when someone interviews me, or podcasts with me, and we have a conversation, and more people become aware of me, or become re-aware of me, reacquainted with me, and I hear things like, "Oh yeah, gosh, I remember Andy Nowicki. Good to see he's still around. Wonder what happened to him." I had wondered what happened to him. Well, I've always been around, but I guess there was a time when I had greater exposure. And so periodically, people who forgot about me, or who wondered what had happened to me, or who maybe remembered me, but just weren't aware that I was still out there somehow, became reacquainted with the fact that I'm still around. And that's the influence that my interview with Morgoth's review has had. So I believe that, in the interview we talk about the history of the alt-right, and the role that I played with AlternativeRight.com in the early days, and the various incarnations that the alt-right went through, leading up to the point of its eventual demise, and all the stuff that I've written about recently on my Substack page as well. That was the subject of conversation. So I think it's starting to rain lately, so hopefully I'm not going to damage the camera too much. Maybe I'll just stay under the tree here for a second, where the rain won't get me that bad. Won't get the camera that bad. I think, when things like this happen, when I get re-noticed and, suddenly my subscriber count goes up a little bit, I get a little bit of a bump for a couple of days, and then things return to normal again. From time to time, I realize just like, whoa, dang bug. Oh, wow, the weather's really about to shift here. Oh my goodness gracious. I really did enter the dark woods at probably just the wrong time. So let me just wrap things up, so that I can put this camera away so it won't get damaged by the monsoon that's about to hit. How do I put this? I think that it's perfectly appropriate to want to get recognition for your efforts. I think it's perfectly appropriate to take pride in having an influence over people. Especially if what you're striving for is to have an influence for the better. Whatever you are, whatever you claim yourself to be. A philosopher, or a fiction writer, or a comedian, or whatever. If you're in the realm of the arts, I think that's legitimate to a degree, but it also very quickly becomes just this lust for fame, this lust for acclaim, this lust for status. And that's, the paradox of my whole career, if we want to call it that. My literary career is, I'm out here, I've written about Stoicism and trying to return to Stoicism and encouraging, in my work, Ruminations of a Low Status Male, also in the Final Solution to the Incel Problem, and a few other things I've written. I've sought out the I've tried to stake out the philosophy that I think is needful, that a man needs to transcend his petty desire for acclaim. But it's something that it's not something that I'm immune to at all. So I try to be as honest about that as I can. And I know that in a way, you might say it's honesty, in a way you might say it's an embodiment. It makes me the embodiment of hypocrisy, depending on how you look at it. But there you go. There it is. So, anyway, this is maybe just in a long-winded way, welcoming new subscribers, not that there haven't been that many new subscribers, but there have been a few. And also just a way of acknowledging that this whole rigmarole just goes on. And I suspect it doesn't end. I suspect even if one achieves legitimate fame and acclaim and success and status and so forth, it doesn't end, because you're still, you then I imagine, the question becomes, well, what do I do to stay on top? How do I remain relevant? Am I losing my touch? There's no resting on one's laurels at any point. At least when you have this kind of mindset. And so that's in part why I counsel the way that I do, why I counsel for the attempt to remove oneself from, the egoic part of oneself, even while I'm in a way embroiled in it. The rain has lightened up a little bit now. It's just a fine mist here in these coastal Georgia woods. Perhaps I'll meet my Virgil in the next few minutes. Anyway, welcome to everybody who's new and to everybody who's old. It's like it's thanks for staying around. Thanks for finding me again. They sure don't make it easy. When you're blowing against the wind, which is what I do determinedly in this age in which we live, which is an age of, if you want to call it the Kali Yuga or whatever it is, this age of darkness, degeneracy, they don't make it easy for those of us who oppose the evil juggernaut. So, you endure things like getting deplatformed. You endure things like for me, having my old YouTube channel taken down, my Facebook page where I had 3,000 friends, 3,000 to 4,000 or so friends, just taken off. And I know others have suffered the same thing, suffered the same fate or worse. But every time something like that happens, people lose touch with you. Some people do. Some people say, well, I'll find, let me find Nowicki again. And they look for me and they find me because I've always been, I've been around for the last, decade or so. I've been around doing my thing, whether it's writing or podcasting or broadcasting on YouTube or elsewhere. I've been around. But every time there's a disruption, whether it's something like getting deplatformed or like what happened with AlternativeRight.com, when that just, was the needle was taken off the record and the record was thrown away, and suddenly there was no AlternativeRight.com anymore. I guess that at that point it was such a major disruption that people just lost track of me and of Colin Liddell and of others who were then writing for that publication. So whether it's hostile fire or friendly fire, if that was what you would call friendly fire. I don't know if I would call it that. But every disruption makes it so that, you know, some people just lose you. I guess it sort of depends on how invested they are in you, or how technologically savvy they are. I don't know how savvy you have to be to enter a name into a search engine, though. So I think I'm afraid it just comes down to some people just, you know, when they don't see you anymore, they figure you're gone. Or they don't see you anymore where they had been seeing you. They just figure you're gone. But I'm going to be around in one form or another for as long as I am dwelling upon this earth. So if I ever disappear, keep looking for me. Okay? Keep looking for me if you're interested, and you'll find me. And I guess that's my message as we come to the clearing. We emerge from the dark woods into the beautiful clearing. It's a cloudy day, but there's light on the horizon. So if I disappear again, just look for me, okay? That's all I'll say for now. Thanks for watching.